Okay, I'm live on the I Am sessions, and it's just telling my followers that I've started a live video. Well, today I'm really excited. It's a bit late here, it's 11 p.m., hence, you'll see, the bags under my eyes, and it's a little later than usual, but that's because today we are going global. Hey, Farin. um, and I'm super, super, super excited because I've got someone in the building today who I am a fan of. It's one of those ones where, his videos became really viral, and to the point where even my mum was sending me them. And I was getting them in WhatsApp videos, and I kept seeing the tag, the real Sinister. So one day I went to his page on Instagram, and I was scrolling through his photos, and then I was like, what? I know that girl that he's married to. Turned out he was married to my cousin's friend, Farin, who I also know really well from our childhood antics 20 years ago. Giving away our age now. But basically, today in the house, I have got her other half, and that is the real Sinister, who is an awesome, awesome comedian. He's a visual artist, he's a clothing designer, and he is a rapper. So I'm super excited to have him in the building, and I am going to get him in now to back like this, because what happens is I don't really fit in the screen or something. So just hey,
Hey,
how are you doing?
I'm
Oh,
doing wonderful.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, it's freezing a little bit. I don't know if is it okay?
Yeah, for
Oh,
me, it's good. I
is
can
it?
see.
I can see you, but you're breaking up, and I'm thinking, is it my connection or yours? I'm not too sure. Let's see.
Oh, Wi-Fi connection.
Oh, okay. Well, I can hear you fine now. Let's hope it stays that way. So thank you so much for joining us on I Am Hip Hop on the I Am sessions. We are really excited to have you on here because I was just explaining how I kind of realized that I actually know you, and how I was a fan before I actually realized I knew you. Just from your awesome, awesome, amazing viral videos. They're fantastic. I'm gonna give people a little bit of a briefing before I go into it, but basically, this gangster right here takes our classic cartoons, from Spider-Man to The Simpsons to Peppa Pig, puts a whole twist on it, starts versing in Punjabi over it, and creating these awesome characters, and just making everyone really laugh. So big up for that. I think I mean, it's an amazing concept. What it reminded me of, when I was younger, me and my siblings, we used to mute the TV and talk over it, and pretend to do different voices over all the shows. And that's exactly what it reminded me of. But I just want to know, how did it all begin, with your content creation, and just the journey, really?
Um, so for me, when it came to the dubs, it started around 2015. So it's been 5 years and some change since I've been doing it. But how it all began was on Vine. I used to use Vine a lot and make 7-second videos. And I just experimented with this one video I did of Macho Man and Mean Gene. It was an interview they did, and just for the fun of it, I just said some Punjabi in it in broken English, and I just put it out there for fun. But that's where it all started. So once that dropped, it went viral on Vine, Instagram, and then I started
Wow.
up. Yeah, and that was it for. I just it just snowballed from there. I just continued to create on Vine more and more, experimenting with characters, and that was the beginning of it.
Amazing. And how long does it take you to put together one of those videos? Because sometimes you just like churn them out super fast. I'm like, wow. Like, have you, but is it like something that you have to go on your computer and do? Is it like something you just do on your phone? Like, how long does it even take you?
So in the very beginning, it was fast because I was going through the Vine app. So it was like 7 second little skits. But as soon as I hit Instagram, it started with a minute. Then I started taking more time. Like it would take a couple days to like complete an edit, right? Like I would do the voiceover, then I would want to get the background noise to match perfectly. Like I really started to get really detailed more and more. So now it takes days versus before it could take me minutes per se. So it's getting better, I'm experimenting with a lot more, trying to get a lot more detail in them. But yeah, it does take a little bit longer now.
I can imagine. Wow, man. Props to you for like having like the just like continuing doing it, like the consistency and just like making videos because they do make people happy and they do make people laugh. And I always appreciate seeing like people like yourself go viral because we need like more fun, happy content. We need spins on stuff, you know. Life has just become so serious. So I mean, like I know, like people are shouting out Lee. Like, is there any characters in particular that have just blown up, and you're just like, oh my god, maybe I should just be this character in real life? Like,
So sorry, you're asking what characters have blown up?
yeah,
Yo, so honestly, the top three, number one has to be Umli Man. Umli Man and his catchphrase that became a staple. The "What the fuck I did last night."
wow,
For that became its own monster. So I started continuing with him, and I would say Binky from Hey Arthur, the drug dealer. I dealer Banky. He was another like top, like a fan favorite, and I would say the Caillou skits. So I would just dub over Caillou, and like Caillou itself is already like the way he is with his family. So I just like added the Punjabi humor to it, and honestly, I would have to say those top three. They just morphed into a monster of their own, and I built with them.
that's amazing. That is amazing. Um, so like I really enjoyed you like doing that like little like 10-second part. Do you think you can give us a like little exclusive, like I don't know what kind of like um I don't know, a little taster, man. I want to see you in your just you in your actual raw self just doing like I don't know, a little skit. Give us something.
But I don't really rehearse them. It's off the all based on a character. Like, okay, how do I want to do the voice? Do I want to make it more serious? Do I want to make him more relaxed? And then I don't really know, man, to do in terms of to do a skit. Like, I mean, we all know the Umli Man voice. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave that to the end. We'll leave that to the end. But like through your page, you've like managed to connect with so many well-known people like Russell Peters and like a few people like I mean, yeah, your content has just traveled and has reached a lot of like celebs and artists who have shown you a lot of love. Um, Tell us about some of the people that you have kind of received recognition from.
Right. So honestly, it has been a beautiful journey. I was able to meet like many different people. Some people that I don't think I would have ever met. For example, like Russell Peters and Jay Sean. They've been incredible. Like they're iconic legends, and like I was fortunate enough to even have conversations with them, and even essentially work with them. But I would have to say for sure those top two, because in terms of comedy, like Russell Peters is the goat, the Desi comedy goat. So, and Jay Sean is the first brown boy to get it popping. So, but
Yeah, yeah. course. So, like mentioning Jay Sean, like you've done a few collabs with him, like a bit of work on like the art side of things. What have you been working on with him? Because, so I mean, in the intro, I did mention like this is going to be like such an amazing interview because you have got so much to you. So Hustle Magic is like the designer artsy side of you, which is just phenomenal. Like I checked out your art page and I was like, wow, like it's actually amazing. So what are you working on with Jay Sean, or what has like come out of like you two meeting?
And so when we started talking, I showed him some of my art and like my clothing, just showing him, look, I have this on the side that I do. And then he presented me an opportunity. Like I was fortunate enough to get this opportunity, so I'm grateful to create his cover art for his single "Changing," featuring Sick Kick. So dope record.
Yes.
Um, with like a comic book theme, and I enjoyed it. It was a real dope experience. So that was, I would say that was the first thing. And then secondly, we most recent, like very recently launched clothing collaboration. So he had an existing logo. I added my twist to it, and then we printed it on a tee, and I think it looks incredible. So yeah, those two things have been amazing opportunities, and especially in terms of getting my art out there. Like I'm really passionate about art. Like I love the messages, things that I include in it. So to get it out to such a scale with someone like that it's a blessing on its own. So it's been amazing.
Amazing. It's amazing how like comedy has like opened up doors to like so much like so many other like corners of like your talent and stuff. It's actually really amazing. And with your art, like I've noticed that you've got like the eye of Providence like in like all of your imagery. And so the second I saw it, I was like, okay, this is art with meaning completely. Like as much as like you focus on like a lot of like hip hop culture still and basketball culture, like that is still in it. What kind of messages do you want to give through your art, or like what? How would you define your style of art?
So I mean, the style of my art, like you said, it does involve a lot of messaging and coding. I have it is a somewhat of an urban influence style. I do a lot of drip graffiti style, but then I just take off like in my mind. So it's kind of like I visualize it and I know exactly what I want and it just goes. In terms of the Eye of Providence, to me, essentially, it represents the third eye. So the pineal gland opening up. It's conscious, right? So I have it inked as well. I mean, that's how much it
That's
instrumental in my.
yeah.
I love to include it in incorporate it in all of my art because I the personal meaning to me is essentially that it's just creating that awareness, keeping an open mind, and knowledge is power, right? Essentially, I do have a lot of those messages in my art. It's hard to see, but I incorporate it all in there because that's what I kind of want people to take away from when they see my style. So this means something. And for me, my main messages are like self-love, knowledge of self. Knowledge is power. Just to empower each other and just right. So I mean, this is one of my designs, and it's self-made, and you have the eye of providence. So
I love that.
it's
I love that. That is dope. That is actually dope. So like the fact that you've turned this your whole art into like obviously like a clothing and merchandise range is really amazing too, because like you said, the messages that speak through your artwork are something that we all need to embody. And like the same way with us, like you said, knowledge is power. Like with I am hip hop, that's what we're all about. We're all about using art to create a very strong positive message, and constantly telling people like to seek beyond, seek beyond what we're told, like constantly educate yourself. um And I think that's really amazing. So tell us a bit about your clothing range. Like, where do you sell it, and what kind of like is it? Say if I saw something on your page that I really liked in terms of your art, could I be like, hey, can I get this on a shirt? How are you selling?
So essentially, like my actual art page is like a separate entity. I don't know if I'm cutting out here.
A little bit, but it's
It's okay.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So my art, I keep it more separate. So anything on my art is more in a greater detail, only because when it comes to the clothing and the printing, it gets tricky with the colors and details. So I have to scale back when it comes to my actual garment printing, and then my art, I just go nuts on it. So you'll see somewhat of a difference in more detailed in my art versus on the prints. Um, I try to keep it, a dope variety. Like I do seasonal, so tees in the summer, hoodies in the winter, toques, beanies. So I have some newer hoodies coming soon, for the winter season. I'd say 2 to 3 different designs in the works.
Amazing. That's amazing. And do you ship like globally? Can like us in the UK get them?
So sorry for shipping. It is globally. It's on my website, so www.hustlemagic.com, and it's basically all online. So it's not available in any stores or anything. It's just online, hand to hand, and I do ship globally.
No, that's dope. Yeah, we definitely need to get some of those. So with regards to like your art, like so you're a comedian. We're going to also go back and touch on more of your comedy in a few. But I wanted to also focus on like so you as like a creative using like art to send a message also you've been making music, so you're a hip hop artist, and which was another thing. I was like, oh my god, he's also a hip hop artist. Wow. Then I went to check out your music, and I saw that you have 3 albums and like full albums as well, and I was like, wow. And obviously I listened through like to quite a lot of your music, and I was like, okay, this is sick. I see where the eye of providence comes from. I see what you mean by like knowledge is power. I see how you use hip hop to send messages. So tell us a bit about your love for hip hop and how that started.
So it started right around high school. I'd say like 2015 ish. I like two of my buddies that I grew up with from childhood. They were super into it. So I started embracing everything they were listening to, and it was predominantly East Coast rap. So Biggie, Nas, Jay, Wu Tang, all Queensbridge. So Mobb Deep, Cormega, CNN, Tragedy, Gaddafi, like all that real East Coast. Um, you know, they were all kind of shining at that time, and that's what I fell in love with it. Ghostface Killer, like one of my favorite MCs, dopest MC, Cool G Rap, and that was it. I fell in love with it, and I started freestyling and stuff like that in all high school, and I loved it, and I never looked back.
Amazing. So you started freestyling in high school, and then when did you put out your first album?
Started like professionally rapping around 2006. Me and a buddy of mine were fortunate enough to like we had a 360 deal through Universal with an independent label.
Oh
So
wow, hey, that's amazing.
it was incredible. Like it was just for a year, and it really got us kind of out there. We did shows. We were fortunate enough to open up for Fabulous at one event.
Wow,
And
that's amazing. That is actually amazing.
yeah,
Dope.
it was. So from that point on, I did do those 3 albums, and I took a little break, and now I'm like amping up to do my. So I left off with the Barfather 1, and now I'm getting ready to release the Barfather 2, because I feel like I knew I wanted to come back, but I trusted the process, and I knew organically I know when I'm going to be ready to start really making music, when I have a lot more to say. I've grown from all those years. My messages have changed, so I was like, you know what? It's definitely something I want to do. Um, and I
So
just
what's the time been from your last album to now?
so I would say it's been quite a couple of years. I would say essentially maybe close to a decade. I would say in that, yeah, because it was early on, maybe like 7 years. I'd say that's been the gap, because then the focus changed. I started doing the comedy, the clothing, and I just felt like, that was my main focus, and that's what I wanted to do versus the rapping. Uh,
And fair play is like I think like you built that because it was your focus. So and as you said, like in a decade you can change so much as a person. So in terms of like your style and your lyrical content, is there anything or anyone in terms of rap, hip hop, life experiences that has influenced your music in that time frame, like for it to be what it is now?
I mean, in terms of growth, like I was young back then, so my mind frame in terms of the rap was more so, bad man, I'm rapping, and I'm so. I mean, now it's more so I feel like the growth from there. So I've mentally grown, understanding myself more, going through adversity, right, through life. You obviously learn from it. So I mean, there's several things that have impacted me throughout that time frame that I'd say added to me wanting to get that message out there even more. Whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's more personal, there's always ups and downs. So I just channeled my energy from all of that and said, you know what, I have a lot more to say now. And even mentally, my clarity is a lot different, right? I feel a lot more clear headed in terms of getting my message out there versus way back then.
So no, well, I'm really looking forward to it because yeah, I've been listening to like your back catalog and like to me that was just like really phenomenal. So what are we looking like at time frames? Like when do you look to like put out your new material?
Well, the Barfather 2, I'm just tightening up a couple more songs, so I would imagine sometime in the winter I should have that done along with some visuals. So I'm trying to shoot a couple videos, and like once this body of work is out there, I feel like the whole Barfather is just bars, so it's like lyrics and wordplay. Essentially from that point, I'll start to reach out to other artists and start to do the collaborations and features. But I really just want your work out there first to say, okay, this is me right now, and based off that energy, let's see what I can attract in terms of other artists, singers, to collaborate with.
No, that is sick. That's definitely something that we had um to have to look forward to. So yeah, I mean, I do encourage everyone to check out like your back catalog of music because it is really amazing. It still sounds extremely current. That's why I was like, wow, is it a decade? Because it's super current. Like the production is thick on it, and yeah, lyrically it's on point. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. It also makes me wonder because like obviously like you've built up this amazing following for your comedy, which is just like a lot of people who come to you who probably aren't even into hip hop, let alone like conscious of thought provoking hip hop, but like they follow you because of like the bands, they follow you because like yeah, you're putting out these videos. There's a lot of like definitely comical stuff there. How
how will you like kind of like maintain like the whole like two-sided thing? Like, is it something that you want to merge? Like, would you be encouraging people like who follow you on your comedy page to kind of be like, hey, I also do hip hop, or do you kind of see it as a completely different, you know, alias, and like, you know, that's you, that's your serious stuff, and like this is your comical stuff, and you know, you kind of don't envision it crossing over.
Hey, like honestly, because I started making music first, and that's how the whole name came about. Like I went by the name of Sinister, and then because that was taken, I ended up registering the real Sinister on Instagram. So it started with music. Um, I don't like that's where it started. I mean, comedy I always loved, but like everybody knew me from the rap first, and then that hey, I started doing the dubs. So I think essentially I wouldn't really merge the two. I would keep it separate because Sinister himself is just his own beast. It's music, lyrics, bars, and then the real Sinister, you get more of the laid back, comedic side of me, and the more personal me. But I wouldn't I wouldn't, say no to maybe like doing a song and then having a skit with the real Sinister in the music video. You could do a
Yeah,
little.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Amelie Man can like, spit at like 16 or something, you know?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. At the end of the day, like I love comedy, I love music, and I also love art. So the fact that I'm able to incorporate them and kind of get it all out there, it's a beautiful thing because I never wanted to just say, well, I loved music, but I never pursued it anymore because one thing took over. Like I just feel more fulfilled just trying to get my energy out in those different ways, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I think yeah, I mean, yeah, lyrically, like I can tell that you are a hip hop head and a fan. If you like, I mean, like this year's been like really, really crazy. Has there been like any releases or music that has helped you get through like the whole lockdown situation and inspired you to continue like making music?
For sure. Like I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you are aware of like the group out of Buffalo, like Griselda.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Griselda. Massive. Yeah.
Griselda, honestly, that whole movement, the Buffalo Kids, Conway the Machine, Fly God, Benny the Butcher, like they honestly, like when I listen to that, so much more hungry and motivated. It honestly gives me like that the chills to write even more and more because it's like that type of rap that I love. And like when I see people kind of putting that out there, and it's a beautiful thing and it's getting embraced, it gives me that man. This is what like because the music has obviously changed, and when you see that certain more commercial style music, it may not be, you may get a little like discouraged, like man, that's not the type of music I want to make. But when there's people that are embracing that core, that hip hop that like I grew up on, it means the world to me. Like I love it, and it encourages me to keep going, and I really want to put these projects out there.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. So let's like well, yeah, please like keep us up to date with your music. I mean, we'll be looking out for you and fully supporting like that journey because I mean, actually, would you want to give us like a sneak peek of one of your
One,
tracks? Or is it an exclusive? Because fair enough if it is, we can wait.
I haven't really gone over a lot of the stuff. I started recording a while back, so I don't really have anything off top in terms of the recorded. But I am gonna get into spitting bars on my music page on Instagram, the Real Sinister Music. I'm gonna start getting into some Monday bars or our freestyle Fridays just to start getting that ball rolling. So you guys stay tuned for
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that's another thing I wanted to get into because obviously when you started making like these viral videos, you started on Vine, and the way that Instagram has like changed and like you know the digital movement has changed, it's made like everything so much more accessible. Like you know you're able to like reach like different spaces and places, and yeah, technology has changed completely and it's like switched it up, especially for artists and musicians. And I think like during this year, things have like turned up a notch. Realize that yeah, we have to think like bigger than like you know the physical room. We have to think digital. We have to think about things that we can do to keep you know people engaged with the arts, but on like you know the digital levels. How has like this whole quarantine period and like 2020 kind of affected or changed the way you kind of like produce content or put content out there, or have you thought of other ways of like you know kind of like evolving like you know either like your comedy side or your music side like to reach like more audiences?
absolutely. Like the thing with me, I got fortunate enough, like with the COVID thing, you know, in the very beginning we were locked down, but I'm fortunate because my comedy doesn't like require me to be outside, right? So I was still able to create
Yeah.
content and eating it off of what was going on in the world. So a lot of it was like COVID content, just to make some humor. You know, people are stuck at
Oh my
home.
god,
I'm getting
that Peppa Pig one that you did, like where like the daddy pig gets like COVID and like has like or oh my god, that was hilarious. That was actually hilarious. Like your COVID content is so funny. Oh my god. Like and it is like not even on Instagram. Like I was saying at the start, like I was getting like WhatsApp groups. I was getting sent your videos. Like they are actually like people are ripping and sending, and like they're probably in like places that you don't even know, and that's just really amazing. So I feel like being able to turn such a like because let's face it, this year's been like ridiculous, but being able to flip that and almost create like this amazing like comical side to it has really helped like a lot of people because there was a point of time where we were just bombarded with negative news like even on social media. So I feel like you know content like yourself is really important. So yeah, big up for that. Like it made me laugh.
thankful, and it's a beautiful thing to have it embraced. And I love it, man. You know, and I'm glad that people, you know, are embracing it. It's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. You know what I think you should have? Like I feel like you need to have like your own TV show. I feel like you need a TV show. I feel like we need to have like 20 minutes on TV, like, you know, like the real Sinister TV show, like 20 minutes or yeah, or like a Twitch show would be sick, like to start with. We could go for Twitch and then we can like get like a commission for TV. But like I feel like it would be so dope to just like, you know, just have like longer versions, like full length cartoons of like of your stuff would be so sick.
That would be amazing. And honestly, people ask all the time, like, make it longer, or do a full movie. But like it, like the attention span, right? These days, some people like them short and sweet. Some people like them long and want to be kind of driven within it, like as if it was an actual movie. So it's a hit or miss. And then you know you have the TikToks now and the Reels on Instagram. It's shorter, you know, duration. So I just play around with it. I have some that are a little bit longer, and then some I just got to squeeze in those little apps because it doesn't give me that, you know, the time frame.
Yeah, yeah, no, completely. I think, I mean, yeah, the short stuff is great, and everyone's time attention span is like is smaller. But yeah, like some long like feature length show content would be so sick. Would definitely be so sick.
One,
Have you ever thought about collaborating with other people to bring like different co-stars in? And if you could, who would you love to collab with?
like in terms of voiceover dubs.
Yeah,
Like I've worked with a lot of influencers, like across the board, even in the UK, LA, Vancouver, Toronto. And it's been amazing because we get a taste of each other's chemistry. So it's like we're adding two comedic, souls combined, and then we just create something insane. I mean, who would I want to do? I would have to say for sure Russell Peters. If I wanted to get someone on a dub, it'd have to be him, for sure, because I think we could create something epic. So you never know, put that out in there in the universe. You never know.
yeah, no, for sure. Well, he's already a fan of yours, so like you're halfway there. Like that would be really sick. And I mean, your content is like predominantly in Punjabi, so it's still like even being like just like Punjabi, like not everyone understands it. Not everyone like you're almost like very niche, but at the same time, like because of that, it's like it's worked because it's gone viral amongst like different Punjabis across the world. Is it something that you would like consider like opening up language wise? Like, have you experimented with maybe like including being more inclusive with languages?
Like I have messed around with like all English ones, and I just didn't really find it resonated as much. So it's a hit or miss, but it's definitely not something I look past. Like yes, most definitely. Like I'll reach out to pretty much any influencer now. Not even it doesn't matter if they're Punjabi or not because. Like I said before, anyone can bring their own little chemistry in, and
Yeah,
it could be right, even if there is the language barrier.
yeah, yeah. No, that's dope. That is dope. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, with regards to like the content and the character building, like where have your influences come from? Like, would you say like it was like family experiences? Like, where how do you construct like this crazy humor that's in your head? Like, what have been your major influences?
Before, I just want to shout out the homie Blitz, man. Blitzkrieg, Blitz Music. I see you, brother. Shout out to DJ Donnie Brasco and shout out to Kabir Singh. Yo, shout out to that's love. So sorry to answer your question. So I would say a good percentage of it comes from personal experiences. So it essentially is like things that it's either personal experiences or things that I've witnessed. And so I just taken like childhood experiences or things that I've seen like cousins go through in the Punjabi community. And it's like that narrative, it comes out in a certain way. So I wouldn't say like a lot of it is exaggerated. I'm not going to say that it's, I was raised that way, but it comes from like I don't even like I would say like 70% is personal and 30 is the culture or things that I've seen. And
Yeah, well, you've nailed it completely. Like you've nailed it. Like when I think about like people in my family or like when I share it with my dad, like he's just like laughing his head off. So like you're even like closing the generational gap there. It's like content that you can actually share with like your parents and they get it and you get it and everyone gets it. So it makes it even more funnier because it's relatable for sure. So like yeah, well done for like doing that. Like that's pretty amazing. How so like you're massive in the social media world. You're big on design. You're big on hip hop. Have you been able to make this like your full time thing, or is that something you're wanting to do in the future?
I mean, essentially, it is definitely something I want to get like cemented in. It hasn't gotten me there yet. But it's okay. Like at the end of the day, I always have to remind myself, and I do, like, why did I start all of this, right? Essentially, it was the love of it. So the love of music, the love of art, the love of comedy. I'm extremely grateful for any opportunity that comes my way. I embrace everything, but then I I I have to always remind myself to enjoy the fruits of my labor. So instead of always chasing the next high or the next win, I embrace it and I remind myself, hey, I never signed up for this. So I'm putting my vibrations out into the universe. I'm getting it in tenfold, and I can't take that for granted ever. So, not to say that I don't want to excel or I don't want to do new things. I also take time to embrace. So I'm just like, okay, this is great. So now I'll slowly say, what can I do with this, right? Or how can I change this, if that makes sense.
That completely makes sense because as someone who's a creative too, I always find that our minds are just like our bigger blessings, but also like our like the worst thing ever because we are always trying to do so much at once. We've got like this, and at the same time, like because it's a creative industry, we're trying to like juggle like work and we're trying to juggle this, and we're like, you know, we're in an era where everyone's on social media and everyone's excelling, and like it's easier to kind of like compare ourselves. So I think it's extremely important to kind of just be present in where we are and like take time out to kind of reflect on our journey and just kind of realize that we got to focus and not try and do everything at once and just let the universe do its work, let the universe kind of like work its magic. But in terms of like that social media world, it is very important for us to take breaks. Do you ever take breaks, or do you feel like there's always a pressure to kind of like post content?
Like for me, I couldn't agree with your message even more. Like the whole social media perception, right? You don't want to ever get sucked in where you're feeling you're not good enough or you're not fulfilled enough because you're seeing this influencer wear this or drive this or do that. It's essentially it's an illusion, right? So you have to be present and be you can't let your insecurities dominate your mind or your narrative. In terms of my content, I can't really say that I ever felt any pressure because I've done it out of love and I'm embracing everything that comes with it. I'm not really like I've never really been money driven per se. I more so just want to get content out there. So whatever comes with it, I embrace. So no, I can't say the pressure part, but I do have to take breaks because it can become overwhelming, right? Like you catch yourself on your device all day. You gotta,
Yeah.
what am I really doing? I'm looking at this device and all my vibrations, my mind is just going into it. But I gotta take a step back and then enjoy the present. Where am I? What's going on? What's around me? So like Reed, my wife, of course, me and her, like I always make an effort to like have some plug out time. Like we unplug and we're communicating as one on one. No, no devices, no TV, no nothing. And we converse. We're human beings. Where our souls are just, So it's hard, but I don't. I've taken breaks, but I don't really. I refuse to fall into that pressure to say, you know what, I need to do this and I need to get this done because then what's fun about that, right? I always have to remind myself, why did I start this? It was out of the love of comedy, laugh, not on to be on a schedule or to be in the demand of this social media illusion, right, or perception. It's like,
Mm,
man, I gotta do what I feel is working for me, and I gotta stay true to myself. I can't be turning out for Instagram. I'm not doing anything for the gram. I'm doing it for
mm,
me. So
mm.
it's some. like even now I see a lot of it, right? I see, and I'm not saying people influencers are derailing, but I do see like um, you know the perception. So it may captivate someone's dynamic, like, oh man, I need that now because of this, right? It's a psychological warfare. Um, you got to be conscious of what's going on.
Yeah, no. And I think when I see you and I see like, the content you're producing, I think it's been like a completely natural process. Like I don't see any I don't see like, any stunting for the gram. I don't see any of that. I see like someone who's actually I'm in awe of your work. I'm like, wow, like there's someone who's actually out there putting together these sick videos, taking the time to like, voice voiceover and make people laugh. Like we've had some messages in the chat that I've seen. Like you must get like bombarded with messages with people just saying like thank you for keeping us like laughing during this time. Like thank you for like creating content for like the Punjabi community that makes us like laugh at like the stereotypes like within our community and
Right.
yeah, and just like a different spin on everything. And of course, like naturally, like, with the way that the digital world is working, we do have to jump on certain things. And that's just to like obviously get our content to more places. But I think in terms of like Instagram and the whole world, I feel like, actual real content creators like yourself, like we need like that's gold to me, like to be honest. Like when I see like someone like putting in that much work ethic for like creating digital content, um it's definitely like accounts that need a lot of love, so I'm happy that you're getting that.
So much. I really truly appreciate it, and I embrace the love from everyone, and I try to just keep it as generic, like the content. I mean, I never try to offend anyone or talk on certain things, but I mean, it's never going to be perfect. So, I mean, if I've ever offended anyone, I do apologize. I sometimes where it's, some people may say I've gone a little too overboard, but I am more conscious of what I put out there now.
But I think like when we look at comedy in general, like what you're doing is no different to what like when we watch stand-up comedy, when we see like Russell Peters, when we see all of like um what's his name, Paul Chowdhury, oh like them all on the stage and like the kind of things that they come out with. Sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, but that's what it is, and it's very clever. Like comedy is extremely clever. Comedy is like is a way of like taking like the most like crazy like issues with society and flipping them over and just bringing awareness, but in a way that we're like, okay, this exists. Like we can either cry about it or we can laugh about it and address it. And I think that's what you're doing very beautifully. Like just from like the problem with like Punjabis and the drinking, the drinking problem with Punjabis in that community. Like, oh my god, like it is an issue. It does need to be addressed, but at the same time, like the fact that we can take it and kind of flip that into comedy is important.
Just making light of situations and just kind of running with it and trying to, like you said, put a smile, on the down days. So I
A
mean, again,
100%, 100%. So in terms of like what you've got coming out, I mean, let's just go through it again before we wrap up. So what have we got to look forward to with you? I mean, everyone needs to follow Hustle Magic, your art page, because that is just phenomenal. Like anyone who appreciates your comedy should definitely be supporting and following and yeah, like checking that out, because that is just like amazing. And you're constantly putting out amazing art, and of course like your music, which is the Real Sinister music, right? the page. Oh, it's cutting a little bit. Maybe it's me.
I got you now. I think you cut
Yeah.
out.
So yeah, like the real Sinister music, is that the music page, right?
Page, so you can look out for my new album, The Barfather 2, on all streaming platforms. I don't have a date yet, so soon. But the real Sinister music is the page. In terms of comedy, I am gonna start experimenting with some on camera, so not like the on. Yeah, so I'm working with some influencers, so stay tuned for that. So you might start seeing me doing some little acting comedy soon. And for the Hustle Magic clothing, I'm just some winter hoodies, new designs, and then I'm gearing up for the summer. So stay tuned for that.
You know what? I am actually planning and hoping that to come to Canada super soon. And if I don't, then I'm gonna buy it online. But if I do, then I'm gonna come and cop it from you directly to save like that delivery charge. I'm gonna pay the airfare to get it.
I'll send a package out for you, no problem.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up and say thank you so much for like joining us. Like you've been like amazing. Anyone who is like really needs to realize that there's so much more to you than the comedy, and we're really looking forward to your hip hop coming out and your artwork, and to just like keep like following and supporting you, because you are like a very important creative of our time, and I certainly appreciate you. When I throw this up, I will throw up all your links. But is there anything you want to say before we cut?
I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. To you, I Am Hip Hop Magazine. It's my pleasure, and I'm honored to be here. So I do thank you so much. I want to thank all the fans. I embrace all the love, and I will continue to do my best to make you guys laugh and entertain you. So stay tuned for the real.
Can you also say bye from Umley Man before you go?
Absolutely. So Umley Man says, "Goodbye, everybody. Tomorrow I'm gonna ask what the fuck I did last night."
That's sick. That is actually sick. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch and speak soon.
Peace.
See you guys. That was actually amazing. Thank you everyone who tuned in. We will be back with more content from I Am Sessions, and go and support him. Like he's dope. He's actually dope. So thanks guys. Good night. God bless.